Good morning and welcome to Golden Heart Spiritual Community. If you come here from a different time, hold on, my alarm's going off. Tell me to end the meditation. Anyway, so welcome. We're a community of loving people, very tolerant and accepting and welcoming. So if you see this in the future, check out a lot of our videos. They're quite wonderful. And our minister, who is a friend and a mentor and teacher to all of us. I know Sandra about 40 years, I think, something like that. Anyway, without further ado, she'll be on in a second, is Dr. Reverend Sandra Jackson. How is everybody? You're all muted.
Good.
Yeah. Hello. That happens when you have two of them on. Hey, Barb. Hey, Casey.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Lovely sunny day here.
Yes. And for those, I'm going to pause this for a second. Introduce you to our friend, mentor, teacher, and family, Dr. Reverend Sandra Jackson. Oh, you look gorgeous today.
Good morning, everybody.
Did you hear? I said you look gorgeous. You look gorgeous today.
Oh,
I love it when you wear white. It's beautiful.
It's winter. It is winter. Well, let me put it this way. It's winter weather. We've had in the 20s all week. So we covered up a plant. It took quite a bit of work because it's a camellia plant, a camellia tree, basically, that is at least 10 feet high. And we tried to cover it, Stacey and I. It took quite a bit because it was supposed to get down below 32. Did it get below 32? Nope. So anyway,
but now you're ready for when it does.
because otherwise it gets south of the sun. So now I have to watch the weather again. And but I am not losing that camellia this year. Last year when we were away from home, it froze, and like, I don't know if you know, but camellias bloom in January. And we have a really beautiful one that has a lot of buds and stuff on it. And I had to trim a lot of it and take buds off. And I just about cried last year because it was, and you didn't know what was going to come back because, we had like 2 weeks of below 30 last year.
Sandra.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get started.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
I want to tell you real quick, the Japanese tea gardens, and what they do is their plants are all in a whatever size pot, and they put that in the ground. So when a freeze is coming, they pull them up. They bring theirs in the nursery. You could bring yours in your garage. So they just
actually, we can't bring them in the garage right now.
No, I mean, you know what I'm saying. No. You bring it in the house, someplace where it won't freeze at night.
I don't have room in the house either.
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
I have brought some things in the house. Yeah, so I hear you, but I'm gonna plant tulips this week because tulips need the cold. So we're in zone 8, and so zone 8, it should have been planted in November, but it'll do now. So anyway, okay, they'll still get enough cold ground to bloom in the fall, in the spring rather. Let's get started, you guys. Hi, Ajika. We're just chit-chatting here a little bit about the weather, and I imagine you guys have had it kind of cold up there too. So let us all turn within, and we can put the recording on now. It's easy. Yep. Okay. Right here, right now, right where we are. We just take a moment to breathe, to relax, to become one with all that is. And in the peace of this moment, all things are working together for our highest, greatest, and most wonderful good. Because that is who we are. There is only good. For the universe is good. God is good. Spirit is good. The infinite Almighty is good. And it is very good. And regardless of who we are and where we are, that good is so always available to us. And so right here and now, we just simply in this moment, accept the good that is ours, individualizing the universal as our own good. And in this moment, we are open and available to think clearly, to know truth, to understand, and to be in full and complete alignment with the spirit of life itself as we come together this morning to remember, to recognize, to realize, to know, and to celebrate the I am that we are right here and right now. It is moving in us and through us and as us, gracefully, joyfully, with ease, with power, with understanding, and with joy. And so I'm knowing this is the truth that connects us, but is also the love that we are, the love that is spirit that connects us as well. And so we simply reach out in our minds now and embrace each and every one that is here today, those who are here and those who are not, those who will listen at a later time. We are knowing that there is no exception to our love. And so we gratefully release this word, knowing it is already done, knowing that the beginning is also the ending, as all things work together for our highest and greatest and most wonderful good. And so it is. Okay.
They were all just young kids back in 1941, into big band music and baseball games. Then the war broke out and their whole world was turned around. They knew their lives would never be the same. Even as their families were taken off to camps, they volunteered for battle anyway. They believed enough to give this country another chance. They did their part to save the USA. Quiet heroes who made the sacrifice so that future generations could have a better life. The quiet heroes, proud Americans, we never will forget what you have done. They were small in stature, but big on bravery. The stories of their courage became known. Just ask their fellow soldiers about their heroic deeds, and about the ones who never will come home. Quiet heroes who made the sacrifice so that future generations could have a better life. Quiet heroes, proud Americans, we never will forget what you have done. Brothers, sons, and fathers, call, and we owe a debt of gratitude to you one and all. I grew up around some of these humble, valiant men, and often wondered where their strength came from. 'Cause they never mentioned all the trials that they went through. I never heard them complain to anyone. Quiet heroes who made the sacrifice so that future generations could have a better life. Quiet heroes, proud Americans. We never will forget what you have done. We never will forget what you have done.
Okay, I know that's kind of an unusual song for our morning, but I'll explain it shortly. So, but I want to start by asking you, we have an affirmation each week. I don't know if if you use them, they're in the newsletter each week. But this week's affirmation is, I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. So I want you to say that with me. Obviously, everybody's got their everybody's muted. That's what I'm trying to say. So just say it out loud with, in your own space, okay? I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. So you might want to just put your hands over your heart, and you can close your eyes and repeat after me. I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. And just feel those words. That infinite love blazes in your heart. I let means that you're giving permission for love to blaze brightly in your heart. To be open to love. To be available to love. Take a deep breath and open your eyes. Infinite love means that there's no boundaries. When you have that which is infinite, it's just on and on and on and on. There's no ending, there's no beginning. Just like the world was here before we came, it will be here after we leave, the visible world, that is. It's infinite. And we can't even, it's hard for us to even imagine sometimes, because humans only began counting years, 2000 or something years ago? Well, it does go back before that, before the Common Era. But, the thing is that even with all the counting that we've done, we still haven't gotten to infinite, right? So when we are letting the fire of infinite love blaze in our hearts, then what we're saying is love has no boundaries, and it is infinite, and it comes from that which is within us, and yet that which is greater than us. And if it's infinite, there's no boundaries. And fires, what do fires do? They can burn out of control. They can burn really, really hot. They can really burn fast, right? They can burn indiscriminately, which means if you're going to have a fire blazing in your heart, then your love can touch anybody and everyone, right? In a really, in a way that is really all-consuming. And of course, the letting is you're giving permission, you're making choices. So I played this because yesterday was December 7th, and it was December 7th, 1941. that in today, this year, December 8th, the country was at war with Japan and with Germany. And December 7th, of course, was Pearl Harbor Day. And there was a time, I know when we were growing up, there was Pearl Harbor Day. It's not marked anymore, but it was a big deal in the 50s, obviously, shortly after the war and everything. But Harold Payne, wrote that song, and he says in it that he went to school, and he knew some of these people. I went to high school with some of these Japanese kids too, whose parents had been interred in some of these camps, and it was like something that was embarrassing to them. They didn't want to talk about it. Their parents didn't want to talk about it. But in 1988, the Civil Liberties Act provided a formal apology to the people who had been interred. And there were about 82,000 individuals left, and they received about $20,000 each. And that was about $1.6 billion that the government paid out, to these people. And I was living in California at the time. I don't know if those of you who were living in California, if you remember that, but I remember when, when they decided to do that in 1988. So, the thing is that they had every reason to be angry, right? They didn't have to go to, they didn't have to go to war. They could have just sat in those internment camps and gone like, you know what? F you guys, excuse my language, but we don't, why should you do this to us? We haven't done anything. They confiscated their lands. That's why they got money, because their land was confiscated, their businesses, very much what was going on with the Jews in Germany was going on with the Japanese here, except that the Americans did not, they interred them. They did not put them in death camps. So, what kind of person decides I'm going to fight, for this country? Somewhere in them, they had to have a love for the country. They had to have a love for their families. They had to have a love for their country. They had a love for their lives, because these are people of Japanese ancestry, and they were choosing to be Americans at the time. They were making that choice. And I don't know for sure, but I would think the ones who were allowed to serve were people who were born in the United States, not just naturalized citizens. Although, well, I shouldn't say that, because my dad was born in Canada and he was naturalized. He got his naturalization during serving in World War II. So maybe some of them were born in Japan. Okay. But he was born in Canada, so I don't know if they made a distinction. But that's not the point. The point is that they had to have this burning, hearts ablaze kind of love for the country in order to say, I will go and fight for this country. Because if they're fighting for the country, what's a possibility? That they will die. And some did. Okay. And they would be injured, and some did. Okay. So, I played this, and I'm talking about this now because our country is in a turning point. And someone, I won't say who, has asked me to do a class or workshop or something about how to deal with the next 4 years. Okay. And so as I was thinking about it, the example of the Japanese Americans is a really good example, because they had so much love for the country. They were willing to do what it took, and that meant they could possibly die, and some did. So our country is at a turning point right now, and some people are going like, I have a lot of them. I have had other ministers tell me, I'm not listening to the news. I just I don't want to hear it. I've turned it off. I don't pay any attention. And that's avoidance. That's putting your head in the sand. And I know that it's hard. but life is hard sometimes. I know it's difficult, but think about those Japanese people. They had a choice about how they were going to deal with what happened to them, but they couldn't avoid it. They couldn't say, well, I don't want to go to that internment camp. I'm happy where I am. Okay, they didn't have that choice. They got swept up, put on trains or whatever buses or whatever they did, and sent to out of state. They didn't necessarily go. Some of them were in Utah, some of them were in Texas. And now we have, people in our country who are scared to death because the governor of Texas has already said he's willing to build a barracks or whatever it is that he needs to build in order to house people who are undocumented. Now, one of the things they have not considered is the fact that these people are contributing to the economy. So what happens? There's like 10.5 million. What happens even if you take 5 million of them out of the economy? They're contributing to the economy. So what happens if you take 5 million out of the economy? No, we'll just go with half instead of all of them, because they're not going to get them all. So let's just say what happens to the economy? They've been contributing to Social Security. They've been contributing to, taxes. They've been contributing to Medicare and all the other things. They haven't gotten the benefit of them. They don't get to vote, but they are contributing. Okay, so what happens? And how do the rest of us think about it? Because if we're turning off the news and we're not knowing about this, we're not doing anything about it either. And in that way, we are contributing to the problem. Think about that. If I can't think of, there's some saying about if you're not doing something about the problem, you're contributing to it, or some stuff like that. It's been a long time since I've heard it, but the thing is that now's the time not to turn off the news, but to ask yourself, what is mine to do? Charles Fillmore, let me find that quote. Charles Fillmore was 93. It's really interesting because a lot of these guys that founded New Thought lived into their 90s. Ernest Holmes didn't, because he was so distraught with his wife dying, Hazel, when she passed away, that he was like, I'll just go follow her. Okay, so Charles Fillmore, who's a co-founder of Unity, said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Wow, listen to that again. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. We've been talking about that. What is it that yours to do? I don't know what is yours to do. I know I've heard some people talk about they're getting involved in this and that and another thing. But so many of us in New Thought who are spiritual decide to turn off the TV and not engage. And when I hear people say that, I don't hear behind them saying, I'm going to up my meditation and prayer time. No, they're just moving out. They just don't want to have anything to do with it. Now, if you are choosing not to engage in a physical way, but instead you are dedicating 5, 10, 15 minutes, an hour, half an hour a day to prayer work and meditation for our country and the world, because the world's in a mess too. If you're doing that, that is a contribution. But if you're just going like, well, I'm not watching this, and you're going about your daily business, taking care of whatever it is that is your own personal stuff, then you're not contributing to the wholeness that is needing and calling forth for healing. Just think about this way. Suppose our country is sick. What would you do? If you have a friend who is sick, what do you do? If you're sick, what do you do? What makes us think that the country can't be sick? Okay, possible. If the country's sick, what do you do about it? Do you just sit back? Or do you do what Charles Fillmore did and say, what's mine to do? If you are still alive, there's something for you to do. If you're upset about the election, there is something for you to do. That upset is telling you there's something for you to do. Anytime you're upset about something, there's something for you to do. That's the place where your love is being engaged. It's being challenged. And you have to say, I am at choice. Am I going to withdraw or am I going to engage? And love engages. It does not sit back and go like, I'm not watching this. Love is fiery. It is engaging. It's exciting. It's moving. And how do you know that? You know that because when you love someone, you do not sit back. You engage with them. Think about that. You engage with them. You don't sit back and go, oh, well, I love this person, but I'll get around to showing them maybe next week or next year. It's no big deal. Okay. But think about when you're in a new relationship with somebody. Okay. Whether it's a new relationship with your job or a new relationship with a friend or a new relationship with a romantic partner or just, a new relationship with me. Okay. Then what do? You engage, you show up, you participate, you do whatever it is necessary for you to be present. And when you love someone, you are engaging with them. And so where is our love for our country if we are going like, yeah, I don't know, we're going to let these guys have it for 4 years? Because I've seen people, on Twitter or someplace, because I do watch Twitter every now and then because sometimes it's really funny and I use it for joking every now and then. But the thing is that there are people on there going like, I'm dropping out for 4 years. Where are you going? And then what was it? I was listening to some podcast, and they were talking about how in Italy they've this whole little town, okay? There's a whole little town that is pretty much defunct that says, if you Americans want to come here, we'll sell you houses real cheap. What are they trying to do? They're reviving their house. They're reviving their city, okay? And how long Americans are going to go over there? They're going to go for what, a few years, and then they're going to come back going like, I don't have the luxuries that I have in the U.S., okay? I mean, stop and think about it. Why do people come here? Why do we have all these undocumented people? Because it's not easy to get into this country, people. I don't know if you know that, but it is not easy to get in this country. There are rules and laws and all kinds of stuff. And so people come and visit. And some people are not allowed to visit. Okay. When we were in Ethiopia, we were on a trip, Reverend Michael Beckwith and a bunch of us, we went, I think it was in 2004. We went to Ethiopia, we went to Ghana, and we had a young man who was, he was a guide for us, and Michael wanted him to come and speak at his church because he was just a wonderful person, and he had a big story to tell. Anyway, for whatever reason, Michael wanted him to come and speak at his church. The young man couldn't get a visa because he was from Ethiopia, he was Black, and he was 28. And there was this concern that if he got here, he would overstay his visa and become undocumented. So they're like, nope, you can't even come. You can't even come for a visit. So, the thing is that it's not easy to get into this country. But undocumented people are not the only ones who are concerned these days. You know, people are afraid that the healthcare system is going to change. They're afraid that Social Security is going to go away. They're afraid that, you know, the Russians are going to take over the country. They're afraid of Casey's going, they're afraid of a lot of things. Okay. So if you're afraid, you can either be paralyzed with that fear and sit back, or you can do what the Japanese Americans did. You can choose to fight. And the nice thing about this fight is you don't have to, you don't have to engage your life. Nobody's shooting at you yet. Okay. I have a concern about if they have armed this country. You know, I mean, people have guns in places that you never probably should not have guns. And yet, you know, if he gives them pardons and lets those people out of jail, he's saying what? It's okay to be in insurrection against the country. So, you know, the thing is that, so what do? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. And I'm pretty sure that you haven't decided yet either. First of all, we have to wait to see what comes, you know, what really does happen, because talk is one thing, action is another. And so once you have action, the government did nothing. You know, they had the war in Europe, you know, for several years from 1939. And, you know, the United States didn't engage. But when we were attacked, what happened? We got engaged in that same war. So, you know, the thing is we don't need to do anything until we find out what's going to happen. And then you can make a decision about what is yours to do. Where's your heart ablazing? Where's your love wanting to express itself? Because you don't want to spread it too thin. You want to laser it, focus it. And in so doing, you may have to challenge some of the previous beliefs you had. You know, you may have to deal with people that you maybe didn't want to deal with, you know, years ago. But if what is yours to do is to meditate and pray every day for world peace and peace and love in our country, then that's an action too, and it's acceptable. We do what it is that is ours to do. The thing is I want you to ask yourself, what is mine to do? What is mine to do? Okay. So I let the fire of infinite love blaze in my heart. And so for today, let it blaze in the heart for somebody that you know. Just think in terms of who is someone that you want to, doesn't have to be anything challenging, just it could be somebody that you know and you haven't thought about for a while. You know, we just had Thanksgiving. Is there somebody that you should have reached out to, or you thought you should have reached out to, you were planned to reach out to you and you didn't? Okay, I don't know. But let us begin to realize that if love is infinite, there are no boundaries, there's no conditions, there's no walls around love. There's absolutely nothing that separates us from loving and being loved except our previous experiences of not feeling loved. And if that is the case, then what has to happen? We need to do some healing, but that healing is not out there. The healing is within ourselves. Okay. Zizi, I think it's time for something more uplifting. That's from the meditation. So see, if you come to the meditation, you might get to do something like that.
As time has unfolded me, it has revealed to me life's nothing less than sublime. And with every thought I make, every last breath I take, may I be gracious and kind. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Kindness wash over me. Make me a symphony. Play every note you can find. Make me reverberate, gently deactivate, slowly flow out of my mind. Find me a melody, dance and let my anthem be. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, 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 love. Sing that with me. Love, 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 love. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred, and guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me.
Yes. Love, cover me. Love over hatred. Right over wrong. Love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Let us take those words into our hearts and minds now and allow that love to blaze, that infinite love to blaze in our hearts and our minds without any restriction. But know that love covers us, love is within us, it is through us, it is as us. That love is the reason why we are here. It is the source of our being. It is our life itself. If there were not love, there would not be the connection that we have for each other. There would not be the possibility that we could feel the love that we do for one another. And so there is a grander, greater, more magnificent, more infinite love. And it is that love that today we are accepting and choosing to be in our lives. It has no resistance to us experiencing it. It has no condemning of others. It has only the acceptance of ourselves and all others, for it is an inclusive, joyful, happy love that burns bright, blazing in all corners of our mind and our being. And as we know this for ourselves, we are attracting others in our lives that allow us to experience that love from within ourselves and within our communities. All things are working together for good because there is love connecting us one to the other. That fire of love that blazes and consumes all that is right here and right now, blazing so brightly within ourselves that it just chars everything that is not appropriate, that is negative, that is unpleasant, that is not a part of the love, the infinite love that is the truth of who we are. This is the love that is God expressing in us and through us and as us. And we choose to experience it fully and completely right here and right now. And so in our own minds, we just simply accept this word as the truth of who we are, even if we don't understand it completely, even if we don't fully agree with it. There is that which is like a small seed that is growing in us, expanding and allowing us to eventually embrace all that we choose to do with the love that is here, as love covers us with its joy, with its peace, with its wisdom, with its understanding, with its goodness, with its wholeness, and with the totality of its infinity. This is the truth of us. And so it is that we give thanks for it, that we are living in deep gratitude and appreciation for this truth unfolding in us and as us. And we are blessed. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so thank you so much for being here today. And last week, Sylvia said there was a problem with the giving link. And the problem is the website. And yesterday I was trying to fix the link and discovered apparently the certificate, something having to do with the certificate. So Stacy and I are working on that. And so we'll have it fixed. But in the meantime, let me give you the PayPal. I'll give you the PayPal link. So you can just go to that if you want. Into PayPal account. And it has it has my name as the